Some of the cheapest houses in Toronto are crushing families right now, not financially, but lifestyle wise. And I know because I actually bought one. When we moved from a condo townhouse into a house, we thought we were doing the right things. We didn't stretch. We didn't chase like the dream house, like the final house, the forever house. And we found something that looked smart on paper. Good price. The layout was okay, something that we said we'll deal with, and it was a good enough location. And what I didn't understand back then is that using price as a filter and only that, it's a very, very dangerous thing for move-up families. And there's a concept that I hardly hear anyone talk about. It's called lifestyle friction. Lifestyle friction is everything that slowly makes your life harder after you move in. We talk about the rush mornings, the noise you thought you'd tune out, the layout that technically works until you actually live through it, and all these other things that affect your resale. The market doesn't completely crush these things. Families do once they realize all these little small things after they move in. These are the 5 types of homes that are getting crushed in Toronto right now. They all look like deals. Buyers defend them aggressively. And the worst one, I argued for it. I justified it, and I regretted it later. If you're moving from a condo or condo townhouse into a house, you're already stretched. There's definitely more responsibility, less time, less energy. So the wrong house doesn't just cost you financially. It costs your calm, your patience, and costs how your family feels day to day. Let's talk about the first type of house. The house that's good price, looks great on paper, but it comes with daily friction. These type of homes have great pictures. You walk through it, it feels like the dream. The square footage makes sense. Total square footage, that is. And the price usually feels like a win. And you tell yourself, this is how people move up. But layouts don't really reveal themselves during showings. They reveal themselves 7:45 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. And that's when everyone's in each other's way, rushing. That's when the washroom bottlenecks, the kitchen bottlenecks, and that's when the house feels tight. And you just don't notice this once. You notice this every single day. And when you eventually sell, buyers feel it immediately. Sometimes they can't pinpoint what it is, but it's how they feel about the house. And this is how you spot it early. This is how you catch yourself and don't buy this house. The question that most buyers ask, can this work? That's not the question you should be asking. Ask, what does a weekday morning feel like here? And if it feels cramped in your brain, it's a red flag, but I get it. Some families are okay being tight. They make exceptions. Price is paramount to them, and they're okay with dealing with these nuisances. But I just want to bring this to your attention in case you're one of those families that can't deal with this. And here's a different one. This is what I learned from selling one of these type of houses this year. So home type number 2, the house that needs work but doesn't have parking. It's not every type of house, but it's a house in a certain price category. So as a house that needs work, I'm talking about almost a gut job, not talking about just updating the floors, and has no parking. And it's on a street that impossible to find parking space. And once this home is renovated, the value of it is north of the $2 million mark. Usually these are homes in High Park, Bloor West Village. And on paper, buyers usually buy these type of homes and say, hey, we'll renovate later. Parking isn't a big deal. We'll just figure it out. But here's what the reality is, just from me selling one of these homes this year. When a home is worth well over $2 million after it's renovated in Toronto, most families have a car. Some even have 2. And when you renovate this house for yourself, but down the road when you need to sell it, you're not doing this for first-time home buyers. These are usually move-up families that have certain needs. And one of the needs is that they expect parking. Doesn't have to be in a garage, but at least have on-site parking so they're not having to park 2 blocks away from the house. So this missing parking doesn't seem like a big issue. You don't need parking yourself. I get it. But for resale, it really matters. So a house might feel cheap today. It'd be very hard to resell in the future. But here's the other thing as well. There are some buyers out there that are going to be living in their home for 20, 30, 40 years, and it's going to be the forever house. You know what? By the time you're ready to sell, it might not matter as much if you're making a couple $100,000 less per the house because it doesn't have parking. Depending on the neighborhood, parking spaces are worth at minimum 100, 150,000 in some of these neighborhoods. Because that's how much a garage costs. It's about $100K for 1 car garage. And here's how you spot these type of homes early. So when you look at these type of homes, they're cheap now. They're well under $2 million. But once it's renovated, if it's worth north of $2 million and doesn't have parking, think twice about buying that home. So most of the time, the future buyers are going to need a parking space. Here's home type number 3. the temporary house. And here's where buyers usually say, we'll buy this house and we'll just move on later. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. But here's what usually happens after you buy the house. Life happens. Moving usually gets harder once you have kids, or if your employment takes a lot of time, or if your employment is very demanding. I guarantee you, most families tend to stay longer than 3 years. And this is where that temporary home becomes permanent. And those small compromises that you said, hey, it will just be temporary, now they're constant. Now they're part of your daily life. And this is where the regret starts. And this is how you spot this early. If you're ready to call this home temporary, ask yourself, how hard is it going to resell this house in 3 years? And if the answer is very, or if your realtor's answer is very, then I would think twice of buying that home. And these temporary homes are usually cheaper on the cheap side. Here's home type number 4. These are the type of homes I'll definitely avoid. These are condo townhouses with high maintenance fees. This one 100% will hurt financially. Usually condo townhouses with high maintenance fees, there's a couple red flags there already. One, they're usually much older. These are 20-plus-year-old condo townhouses. 2, it might be that they had ongoing issues with the development, that they have completely maxed out on the reserve fund. They completely used it up and they have to replenish it. Another red flag could be a condo townhouse with very low reserve fund and they've been around for a decade or more. That means that there's a lot of unplanned maintenance to the home, unplanned maintenance to the common elements. And usually it's the parking garage and waterproofing. So when looking for, let's say, a condo townhouse, don't just focus on the purchase price. Look at the total carrying costs. You might or might not know this is that high maintenance fees usually suppress value of the property because buyers and banks, when they look at properties, they look at total carrying costs, which includes your mortgage payment and your maintenance fee and property tax. So as maintenance fees rise, it shrinks your buyer pool as well. So you might love the townhouse, you might love the complex, but math does matter in this. And having high fees, it does kill the momentum. So when you're house shopping, condo townhouse shopping that is, I would avoid complexes with high fees. High fees are subjective. It depends on the area. So I would compare maintenance fees to all the other complexes in new buyer pockets. So here's a home type that I've been paying attention more recently. The houses in basement flooding areas. This one is not as apparent. There are some homes in basement flooding zones. And this is because of the aging sewer system in Toronto. And Toronto has some hotspots. One is Rockcliffe Smythe. Mount Dennis is one. New Toronto is another. And some parts of Mimico and North York. It's not always in the whole area. And some homes have a lot of safety built into them, like the backwater valve, waterproofing, all those sort of things. So a lot of homes are actually protected. But there are some that have constant flooding. Houses could look great. Basement look fantastic. The layouts are good. But one heavy storm could flood that basement. And now we're dealing with water, insurance, all the things you don't want to deal with. So here's the things to look out for. Here's how you spot these early. Make sure homes, if you're looking to buy homes in this area because this is all you can afford, I get it. Sometimes that trumps, getting stuck in a small space because that might be even worse. Make sure that homes have backwater valve. That's one, right? They look for waterproofing. That's another. And waterproofing with warranty, even better. Another is see that there's sump pumps installed. Next, look for hotspot maps, areas. If this is something that really, really affects you and you want to avoid it, there are some online Toronto maps that tell you where some of these hotspots are. And here's the thing, when you're looking at these 5 type of homes, there's a clear pattern. One is that they're really cheaply priced. That's one. But they hit you with other costs because it's lifestyle. So the best homes, they don't feel cheap. You might have to stretch a little to get into homes that have less headaches in the future. Because the better home, they feel calm, they have less friction. And that's what you need as a home buyer. So I'm not saying these things to scare you. These are things that you need to be aware of when you're home shopping. I see some other families, all they do is focus on price, and that's it. And when you're doing the move up from a condo or condo townhouse into a house, watch out for these things. And that's how you win long term. Thanks for watching. See you soon.